all that energy that was going into my world went into my knees to repair it. So that tiredness is basically the nervous system going offline, as it were, and doing the repair. So don't get scared by tiredness after doing any of these holistic interventions, because that tiredness is a sign that your nervous system is, like I said, resetting. So the next thing I wanted to share about is, and this is again from the academic research. This is not from cultural stuff. That cultural stuff I've already expressed, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the science of Reiki. So any thing that makes your body feel safe is going to help you heal. Can I repeat that? Anything that makes your body feel safe, makes you feel connected with another human being or another living being around you, it's going to heal your nervous system, which means that your feelings of anxiety, fear, sadness, all these other feelings that are in there, which we don't actually get time to examine, those feelings are going to reduce automatically just by doing Reiki. So your emotion overload that we most of us are carrying, a big emotion overload, and that emotion is being generated by the thoughts in our head, by the environment that we see, and it's also being created by, some say even the diet has an effect on our emotions. So there's multiple factors going around, our nervous system, our mental health, and anything that is going to give you a sense of safety is going to help you heal. Dr. Porges, whom I think I've posted a video on in the Facebook group as well, talks about how in many cultures, especially in spiritual environments, you're going to see the use of sound. You're going to see the use of energy healing techniques. And Dr. Porges talks about that, and he talks about a cathedral where they play the organ in low frequency, which actually sets off an alarm system. It's like the low frequencies for us sound wise mean a predator. At the same time, the environment is very sort of peaceful, and the big solid buildings, like really thick buildings, and so that sets off a spiritual feeling. It sets off this awe, and this sense of awe and wonder that is part of our ancestry, part of our religions, part of our spirituality. It helps people tune in, as it were, to something larger than themselves. Now, Reiki is not something that Dr. Porges describes, but these kinds of techniques where there's chanting going on in a group, and people chant and chant and chant, and then they sort of release something, and then they feel calm. That actually is all that energy that was bottled up in the body just being used, completely used. So, maybe they're singing, maybe they're whirling, maybe they are doing yoga, and they're just sort of taking it out, drumming as well. Drumming, any kind of sound, chant, rhythm is going to release some of the energy in the nervous system, and people are going to feel a lot better. So many of the spiritualities, that we see around us are using some kind of energy work. And they're using sound, they're using vibration, they're using vocalization to do this. Yoga, however, is a little bit different in that it's using the body to stretch, to breathe, to release. And yoga is very biologically interesting in that it the yoga movements and the yoga the sounding, these are all ways in which again the vibrations in the body are shifted, and a release happens, and then the brain becomes very calm. The brain waves become slower and more steady. So yoga is again fantastic, but these kinds of things like the stretching and the bending and chanting, they're across the world in many cultures. Now the belief part of it, that this means, like, these cultures, many cultures say, okay, so this is happening, which means that we need to believe in this theory of metaphysical theory. That's the part of which obviously an academic scientist cannot go, and I cannot go either. That is a very personal matter, personal belief system. What belief system appeals to you, and what you have chosen to believe in. And what is important is, if you're looking from a therapeutic system point of view, is how much peace you're getting from it, how you are approaching it, and how you're making it part of your lifestyle in such a way that it gives you peace, comfort, reassurance, and safety. Because that's what therapists are really interested in. Is it working for you? And so I really encourage all of you to just kind of reflect on some of these things and pick what you think is interesting, helpful, and resonates with you, and just leave what isn't, helpful or does not resonate with you. And you won't go wrong. You'll be fine, right? Now, the next thing I wanted to also share is that as a Reiki master, I do attunements and I do teach Reiki. I haven't done it in a long time, but if you're interested in learning Reiki from me, with this very neutral, sort of more of a scientific, little bit of culture here as well, perspective, then let me know, because I have a pragmatic approach to these things. I'm not prescribing anything, and it's just about one tool in your toolkit for holistic self care. And that's the approach that I take in these lessons, and it's an evolution, right? Everything is an evolution of consciousness. So, for example, you learn a Reiki attunement today, it releases certain things that you were holding in your body, in your mind, body mind, I should say, your consciousness. It releases that, and you let it go, and then maybe you do something else, and it releases that, based only on my own experiences, because I cannot quote the experiences of people I've taught, or my clients, because that's their personal experience, and I don't want to be their voice. I want to only be a voice for my own experience. I found Reiki transformational for myself the first time I had a treatment. It definitely opened up my psychic centers. It definitely made me realize that I'm a witness. That was exactly the word I had. This is after my first treatment. My Reiki teacher said that this is your path. You need to do this. This seems that it's very strong for you because your channels are really open. Now at that time, I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I have pipes? Pipes through my body? Okay, now that's what's really interesting. A channel basically means the space um, to actually transmit the frequency. So this is the best word that I can share with you, is having that space within your being that can stay connected to that frequency and transmit it to another person. It's a very heart-based thing. Reiki is a very heart-based thing, in my opinion, as far as I was concerned. And so the heart needs to have that ability to take this vibration and to work with it and to feel it and to be it for somebody else. So that requires some commitment. It also requires a purpose. So some people are born healers. This is what they came here to do, and they use that for the benefit of others around them. That doesn't mean that normal, ordinary people who don't want to go into practice to do this as a profession should not do Reiki, or Reiki is not going to help them. Absolutely no. Reiki can help anyone, from animals to plants, uh, food. Studies have shown that it actually has an effect on all living beings. There's some interesting Reiki oriented studies. They're not academic though. So, I would say to you, try not to get into the let me prove this, is this true mindset. Because you can go on and on in that, and if that fascinates you, sure, go ahead. But if your purpose is simply to have more peace and calm in your life, to have better health, and you're interested in preventative measures rather than, stuff after the fact, then Reiki is absolutely fantastic. It's wonderful for children. It helps them sleep through the night. And when we're sleeping peacefully, we wake up, refreshed, and our whole life can improve if we use some of these holistic tools, and we kind of, set that intention. The basic Reiki intention is do not worry. Just for that little while, to sort of put worries aside and to just be present with the breath in the present moment. Again, very similar to meditation. However, Reiki, because it's a frequency and a vibration, and it is being channeled from another person, I find it's very, very strong. Just like practicing meditation in a group situation, where somebody else is holding this space, it's very strong. In the same way, when somebody else is, transmitting Reiki energy, it can be very strong experience for us, especially if we're open to it. So the only thing you need to say is to receive it. In order to receive it, that I'm open to receiving Reiki for my highest good. If you want, you can put a prayer. If you follow a religion, put a prayer before it and after it.